This episode of the Stickers and Scuffs podcast is in partnership with Ladies of the Oval. Ladies of the Oval came into existence in 2017. It is a community of support for female racers, not only in Ontario, but now nationwide. Their social media showcases female racers across the country in all divisions and all classes. Ladies of the Oval gives out sponsorships to women in racing that is funded by merchandise sales. Follow them on social media to see spotlights of the female racers, upcoming sponsorships, and to find out how you can get involved and stay connected.
You can support the Ladies of the Oval by purchasing your decal or race calendar for 2023 that features some of the ladies that race across this great country. You can follow the Ladies of the Oval on social media via their Facebook page or Instagram page. Just search Ladies of the Oval. Hello, Stickers and Scuffs friends. We're at our final week for Ladies Month for our thanks to our friends at Ladies of the Oval. And we got another champion here on the show with us tonight. We started with Jessica James and the Outlaw Midgets, and then we're ending with the Pure Stock champion at Flamboro Speedway. I guess Pure Stock, Bone Stock, same type of deal there, right? Reece Bourgeois is here. And I say that after learning the pronunciation. Making sure I didn't butcher it because champions deserve to have their name said so deservingly well. Right, Reece? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're glad to have you. And how does it feel hearing the name champion beside your given name? It's Champion Reece instead of just
Reece. It feels great. I love it. I could get used to it.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that not everybody gets to say here in racing in Ontario, racing in general, and even just walking down the street. You can go down and say, hey, I'm a champion, stay away from me because this is champions where we walk and we roll, right? Great and Bun. Hey, we can't
statistically, I mean, racers lose more than they win. So, I mean, to have a championship under your belt, especially at a young age, that's pretty cool. Talk about your championship season, Reece. How did it go?
It was intense. I had some moments where I was like, I can't do this. This is it's not gonna happen. And then I got it and I was like, me? That's me.
Is that in terms of pressure or the car or all of it?
Just everything. I had some I had to repair my car a few times and I was just overwhelmed with everything but it turned out good.
That's a great question that we can actually ask because we talked about Bell Let's Talk last week, 2 weeks ago, about the mental health aspect of racing. We talked with several drivers about the pressure that comes with it. And actually, this is a great topic because we haven't had this conversation with a champion about you're leading, say, the championship into the final week. Mm-hmm. Really, is there a way to separate everyday life from not thinking about it every waking minute of the day until it's actually over?
It was a little hard. It was like I would just be like doing normal things and I'm like, oh my God, championships coming up. Like I need to get my head in the game. And then I'd like over stress about it. But then you just gotta, I don't know, you just kind of like gotta reassure yourself that like stuff might go wrong. It's like stuff happens, but it'll work out.
It does. You got to have a good support network too. I assume your mom Carrie's there, I think, too. She seems like a big part of your career. Talk about support group. I mean, when you have obviously put a ton of pressure on yourself, so you got to have people to talk you off the ledge sometimes too, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like we have Susie. She always comes over to me and she's always like, "How are you feeling?" Because I get very like anxious and I start to I just get really not myself, and she like grounds me and helps me out.
So important. So important to have somebody that'll ground you, especially because, like you said, if you're anxious, sorry, the cat's trying to get over on stuff over here. As always. But you need somebody that's going to keep you in check, right? Because you said one thing you talked about, you get real anxious and emotions can play a role. And I mean, I haven't competitively raced. I mean, I'm sure I'm great at doing the online racing thing, but definitely not behind the wheel of a car. So if you are overly emotional, are you able to drive the same way that you would if you were not if you were grounded, right? I mean, you need to be in control.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're so again, we talked about like this was the biggest experience for you, having to keep yourself together. What was the feeling like when you finally crossed the finish line and realized it's done? We did it.
It was such a relief to finally get that stress of like trying to do good and like having to like not mess anything up. And it was just like it was such a relief. Like it was just really good. Felt really good.
I would imagine so. I mean, we haven't gotten that opportunity to race for a championship. Maybe someday, right, Graydon?
Well,
Someday.
I'm not sure about that, but talk about you were kind of developing your career right when COVID sent everything sideways. That in itself has to be kind of like a hard thing to overcome. So just kind of talk about developing your career and moving forward through all that. Because that's not something everybody can say that they've done.
Yeah. So like my first year I wrecked and I was not, it was the year before COVID. So I was not, I didn't get much like practice or anything. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm just not going to go back into this. Like, this is hard. I don't think I can do this. Like, I'm scared. And then COVID hit and I didn't race the first Flam race because my mom was like, "You're not going out there. It's crazy." Like, no. Okay. And then, I traveled a little bit, went to Delaware, Sunset, Grand Bend, and I was still very nervous about like people are like bumping you and like pushing you around and everything. And it's like, oh my God, don't hit me. Like, I don't want your paint on my car. Like, get away. But, and then had a little incident at Grand Bend. And then Jennifer Hatch came and talked to me. And then after that, I was not a scared girl anymore. I was a ruthless woman. I was like, my paint was on everybody's car. Like I was shoving my way and like a lot of the guys didn't like it, but you got to get over it.
That's right.
Talk from Coach Jen, eh?
Oh yeah. It was like, she sat me down the trailer and was like, people are going to push you around, especially being a young girl, but you just gotta go. You just gotta do it. I mean, you're gonna make them cry, but like, you just gotta go. And I was like, all right. And then the next weekend, I went out and I like was leading, and then I got a little like too ahead of myself, and then I didn't win. But then the next following weekend, I got my first feature win, and I was like, it does pay off. It does work when you're a little ruthless.
We spoke with Layla Walzer on our last episode, and she mentioned that her first feature when her mom wasn't there. So I have to ask, was the family all there for you when you got your first feature win?
Oh yeah, they were. In the pedal power video, you can hear my mom yelling.
Nice.
You can hear her yelling.
I'm a loud parent too. I gotta love
the fence. I was like, you need to calm down a little bit. Like it was.
I
crazy.
respect that. I'm a loud parent.
That would definitely be the case. The first feature win. Do you remember much about it?
I remember crying and crossing the finish line, and I was like hitting my steering wheel. I was yelling. I was so like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this. Like, this is crazy. And that was basically it. I don't even remember what I said when they handed me the mic. I was just rambling on about stuff. Like, it was, wow.
I guess we were all got that way, right, Graydon? I guess the first win you get in video games for racing, you're always, oh my God, I'm the Mario Kart champion, right?
To do it in real life, though, that's got to be pretty sweet. And Flamboro, just talk about what it's like. Like, one, Flamboro is a pretty hallowed ground in terms of speedways in Ontario, and also just how much of a grind that place is, because it looks pretty tough to get around there.
It's not too bad. It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, I find it easy because like that was what I practiced on every Tuesday.
Right.
It's what I raced on. Other people are like, that's a hard track. I'm like, no, it's not. It's like the road. Like, it's not hard. They're like, I don't know how you race there. I'm like, I just do. Like, it's just nature.
Fair, you just do.
I like that. That's a good quote. I don't race, I just do.
It is. That's a t-shirt right there.
Yeah, it is right there. There you go.
Oh, make that a t-shirt.
Write that down.
Marketing gold as it is. I mean, we've been lucky to see Flamboro a couple of times actually, and we didn't unfortunately get down there last year to see you guys. Hopefully we'll be able to make it out and see you guys racing around there. But you got a really good field of pure stocks. First, let me clear: is it pure? Does Flamboro call them pure stocks or bone stocks?
Pure stocks.
Pure stocks. Okay, so we're talking pure stocks in this race or in this episode. So again, bone stocks, pure stocks, pretty simple because they're essentially a road car. Let's learn a little bit about the 51. What car is it, and where's the history? Where did this car come from?
It is a 2000 Acura Integra. It originally belonged to Ryan Hiller.
Mm-hmm.
I begged for a long time to race. A long time, because we used to go to Flam every Saturday, and I was like, Mom, I need to do that. Do you know how cool I'll be if I do that? Like, I'll be the cool guy, man. And she was like, no, you're nuts. And I'm like, okay. And then I finally just stopped begging because I was like, it's not going to happen. And then we were in Florida, and Mom was like, do you like this car? I'm like, that's a sick car. Like, I like that. And she's like, well, that's now yours. I was like, excuse me?
Wow.
What? So then we got back from Florida, and our buddies Heath and Austin picked up the car, and we went to their shop, and I was like sitting in it, and I was like revving it, and I was like, yeah, this is my car. I had the arm out the window. Like, I was like, yeah. And then it took a lot of practicing, and it was a lot. I was at the track like every Tuesday from like when it opened to when it closed, and I was just going around, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I was still like out there trying, and that's
it's funny that you say that, Reece, because our buddy Gray and Bun here has the opportunity to get behind a bone stock pure stock this year. So the way you're describing it is that it's fun, and really, because from the way it sounds, did you have any background in racing before you did this?
No, I had nothing.
Wow.
I didn't know how to drive. I was 14 when I got the car, so I had to learn how to drive standard. I had to learn how to drive in general. Like it was
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I did read up on your background stuff and how it said that you had no prior experience, that you're just kind of chasing a dream, and I was just like, I get that so much, and it's so cool to see like you progress. I mean, like everything you've talked about, how you have to learn how to drive, and then you put the time in at the track and everything. It's chasing a dream, but you got to put the work in to make it happen, and that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to just get handed to you. I mean, like you said, you have to be prepared to put in the time, and you say go around the place, like your home track. That's where you race. That's where you practice. I mean, log as many laps, get as much seat time as you can, and that's so cool. And I think that's something that whether you're a female racer, a 41-and-a-half-year-old racer that's a child at heart, I mean, that's something everybody can relate to.
I mean, it's funny because you really don't hear stories like this. I mean, a lot of people, Greg, that we've interviewed.
It's awesome.
It's I started in karting, or I started here. You didn't start in any of that, and you're a champion after a couple. Like, that's insane. You don't hear that.
That's not without talent right there.
How I was just saying, how did that happen? Is it
driver skills or parts bills?
Yeah, what was it?
I did a lot of like, I don't know, I asked people like how to, like, I don't know, like we had people like come out and like help out. Like we had Jim Lapsevich, Carl Salt, Courtney.
That's a good
lot of people out, and they were like, try this, try doing that. And I'm like, okay. My mom would be like, try this. I'm like, no, you don't know what you're doing. And then someone else would say the same thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll try that. But it was a lot of like working with like tire pressures and where to go on the gas, where to like hit the brake. Like it was just a lot of stuff that people don't really think about.
Yeah.
That really helps.
That's exactly it. I mean, people don't tell you like
the secret.
Where the secret, like where just your braking points, your accelerating points, all those things you say, and just stuff that you either have to find out on your own or just go and research and ask people. And it's kind of like any sport that you're passionate about, that you want to get good at. You talk to people, like you talk to coaches of the teams, and lean on anybody you can to just improve your game, right?
I mean, it's interesting because we one of the things I guess we can talk about is that field that you're in. They're kind of the same experience level, I would say, right? I mean, you're not dealing with drivers that have been in the Pinty series and the Xfinity series or the Truck series or Formula One even. But you had mentioned something earlier in the episode, and I want to kind of tie back to that. As you said, well, I've become a more aggressive, paraphrasing, more aggressive driver. I can't care anymore kind of what I think about it and what people think of me. You said some drivers don't like that.
Yeah.
So how is that dealing with drivers that maybe don't like the way that you race them? Because again, I guess there'd be a fine line, right, between going up and just punching somebody in the face and then talking it out, right? What's it been like? Have you had interactions where maybe stuff didn't go very well on the racetrack?
Oh, I've had plenty. Plenty.
So how do you separate that when you're battling for a championship? Can you?
It gets a little hard.
Questions here, Reece. Tough questions.
Like sometimes it interferes with it because it like
Mhm.
you never know what they're gonna do. You never know if they're gonna do something, and it triggers something inside of yourself, and then it makes you do something that you regret later on. But like, I don't know. I've had my fair share of disagreements with other drivers.
Highlight reel.
Yeah, but somehow they're always my fault, and
Right.
I always get blamed, and I'm like, okay, next time it is going to be my fault if this continues. But
there you go.
like,
you kind of have to be like that though, right? Like otherwise, as you said, as Jen told you, like they're basically just gonna, that's the way that it's gonna be, right? You can't let people punk you, can't let people run all over you, right? So but you've run the bone stock, you won the pure stock, you've run the championship. Is there plans to do that again, or are you looking at potentially moving up to a different class?
I'll still keep running the bone stock until I probably have the money to move up, but like, but I don't know. I have some like people that will let me drive their car, but I'm still not sure about it. Moving up, going faster, like it's a little
and I guess there's nothing wrong, right? If you're comfortable driving the Acura, build up a couple more. If you win like 10 championships in a row, I mean, then yeah, maybe it'd be time, right? But you said when was the first year? 2019 was the first year you started.
Yeah.
See, and to get a championship that quickly, it just doesn't really happen in motorsports. But maybe great. And I mean, you haven't done full time yet, so maybe we get you full time in a bone stock, you win a championship, right?
I don't know about that. Maybe
you get Reece to teach you. He knows how to do it.
I'm gonna say do like the neutral sort of driver statement where like I'm having a ton of fun. I appreciate everybody. We'll see what happens in the future, but I think we're probably gonna have to look at Owen more than me in the future. He's got this virtual racing bug, so I think he's going to want to do the real thing eventually. So,
well, you started at how old, Reece?
14.
Yeah.
14.
Yeah.
Owen's 14. So, was it too young for you, or did you feel comfortable right when you got into it? You said you were nervous, but when you started going a little bit faster, was it kind of like, oh yeah, this I want to do this.
Yeah, when I started getting more comfortable and going faster, I was like, I need to go faster. Like, I need to like move. Like,
I think it's you're building experience like on the fly here, and I think it's maybe you don't have any sort of preconceived idea of driving practice whatsoever. So once you just get in, it's just you don't know. You have no other habits to break or whatever that you would use on the road. It's neat. I think that's cool. I mean, and I think that I think Owen's that way too. Like we have an old Pontiac G5 at my parents' house that he beats around on an old road, and it's a 5-speed manual too. So he's getting like what you were doing, figuring out shifting and letting the clutch out and all that stuff. And that's a skill in itself, like being able to drive a manual transmission. I think that's really neat. And the fact that you're out there kicking ass in an Acura is also very cool.
You didn't say that you destroyed any transmissions, so that's always a good sign, right?
They build good transmissions. That's a stock transmission, right? Like everything's, yeah. Those Honda transmissions are.
Is the plan to stay at Flamboro, or are you going to venture out and do a couple more? Maybe go down to a Delaware bone stock race with 40 cars in the field?
I am thinking about going to different tracks. I have done Delaware. Cool. I got doored at Delaware, first and only time I raced there. I was like, yep, I'm done. This is I'm like, okay. My door was like completely dented. Like I couldn't get it out. It's still dented. We just put a nicer sheet metal over top of it. But definitely want to venture out and do other tracks. Maybe try some tracks in the States. We're just waiting on information from them. But
that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a great looking race car, by the way.
It really is. Who did the design for that?
Creative Edge.
Well known within the racing community. So clearly Creative Edge did a great job on that 51. And it really didn't get too destroyed, but you did say that you had some accidents last year.
Yeah, I was missing some black paint from the fenders and bumpers, but it happens.
Wear and tear.
You didn't flip it, so that's all that matters, right? You had a couple. I think you had a flip last year at Flamboro in the pure stock races, I believe. So I mean, it wasn't completely avoidable. But one of the things that we can talk about in terms of this division is that I think it's flourishing. It seems to be very popular, especially with the, like we said, 40, 50 car fields at Delaware. You guys, I think, we're starting to see an increase in even your field at Flamboro. I mean, for you getting into this, it was a pretty easy transition. But do you ever see yourself replacing the Acura with potentially a different car, or is this is your baby?
I could never. I should have replaced it a long time ago, but I cannot get rid of it. It is just, I learned in that car. I've won races in that car. I just have an emotional attachment to it. I can't let it go.
I love hearing that because there's so many, when you look at like the Cup Series and they just destroy cars like left, right, and center, right? And then they're just done, right? I mean, you don't get to see that here. You don't get people that will hold on to their cars. I mean, we talked maybe like Dexter Stacy has his Pontiac Grand Prix that he ran in the Penny Series so many years ago. But if you decide to eventually that you're going to be done with the Acura racing, are you going to hold on to it and just keep it as a memento, or is you got a nice panel of the door or whatever to keep up on the wall? It's your first race car, right? So it's always going to hold that special part in your life. But if somebody comes with like a late model, I mean, all of a sudden, doesn't sound too bad, right? Reece, you have obviously an opportunity being here on the podcast. I mean, we don't typically we didn't expect that we were going to do a ladies month, but this really was awesome. And I want to say that somebody contacted us regarding you being on the show. And I'm glad that she did, because we love to learn more about racers and the Ladies of the Oval program. Obviously, it's a great thing for you out there for lady racers. There's not a ton out there, but it seems like it's something that you're building. And one thing that's very evident is that there's a lot of girls that come to the racetrack. And what would you say to other girls that'd be interested in racing?
Don't let men push you over. Like it gets to you sometimes, and it like gets you all upset, but you gotta think it's just a guy. Like, you just gotta like just throw them away. Just run them over or something. Like,
well, don't actually run them over, but
actually, but like, I don't know. It kind of like intimidates a lot of like females. It's like, oh my God, like I'm running with a guy. Like they're so much like they're better. No, they're not. No, they're not. You just gotta know what you're doing, and
yeah,
you're good.
I love it. Their t-shirt ideas are just coming through through this entire podcast. They've got another
when the helmet's on and you're belted in, all that matters is talent. It doesn't matter, like, you can't tell if it's a male, female in there. It's who. Nobody can tell when you're out in front either, right?
Exactly. Like, do you know
until you get out and take the flag.
Yeah. Like I have so many kids that come over, and then they're like, they come up to like one of like the guys that we're with, and they're like, "Oh, do you race this car?" And they're like, "No, she does." And they're just like, "Oh my God, like that's her car?" Like they expect people expect like girls' cars to be like purple, pink. I have a demon on the front of my car. Like, it's a girly car.
Isn't it cool though, having like kids and like adults, like people of all ages, just like idolize you when they come up like on fan appreciation night or whenever you get a chance to interact with the fans. It's cool to be that person where people are in awe of what you do. Yeah, I just want it's my last hardball question. Suppose there's like you're at Bristol one day or whatever, and you're part of the driver intros. What's your intro song?
Ooh.
Oh,
That's a
see,
good one.
hardball.
She can't let anybody down either, though. That's
Stumped.
the thing, right?
kind of like,
That's the one that got it. Wow.
I don't know, probably a good Iron Maiden song, like something very like
Heavy.
metal, heavy,
Yeah.
something very that screams like "Don't mess with me."
Love it.
I love hearing that because it's finally, no offense, Graydon, it's finally not a country song. I mean, we need we need some classic heavy metal. That's what we need here. That's exactly it. Reece, you have the opportunity now to thank the people that got you to the racetrack each and every week. You've got some amazing partners on the 51, not just them, but also your crew. So you have the opportunity to give your big thanks right now.
All right. I want to thank Shane, the owner of Georgian Bay Woodworking, Mad Batter Bakery, Paradigm Fleet Services, Epic Racewear. Definitely my mom and sister for dealing with my crap all season and dealing with me. My Oma for making the race videos and posting them. Cool. Pedal Power 51.
Love her.
Ladies of the Oval.
Yeah.
And Ashley McCubbin for all her articles. And
Ashley. That was great. Excellent. Another more t-shirt right there. All your sponsors on it. Perfect. Graydon, we're going to wrap it up with Reece, and just want to throw it to you as we wrap it up. Anything you want to say to Reece?
I just, again, the following a dream kind of thing that I relate to you with. It's cool to talk to someone that's living that dream and to see that dream come true with a championship. I mean, that's something that's a remarkable story. And I think it's really cool that you have that support group that you're talking about, like with your mom and your sister and putting up with your crap. And it does take a village. I mean, just the few races that I am able to put together, I know it's a ton of work and I can't imagine doing it for a whole season, but it's a really cool story. And I think that people will be really cool. I hope everyone enjoys it when they get to hear it here. And thanks to your mom for helping put this together. Thanks, Carrie.
You're standing right there. You're not camera shy. Don't even.
There we go.
We got to have the cameo. There we go.
The Carrie cameo.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we appreciate it.
You're going to sit in with me. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yeah, we appreciate your time, everybody, both of you very much. And we wish you all the best for 2023.
You. We're
gonna wrap it up here on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast. Before we end it, though, I do have to ask: is there an over under on how many times people mess up your last name while you're racing? Because I feel like announcers do it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what we say, over under 10 times a year.
Yeah, for the longest time, Gary at Flam only said Reece 51 because he had no idea how to say my last name. And then he saw the kids, and he was like, "Okay, now that I have you here, like, how do you say your last name? We're already like halfway through the season." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, we're gonna wrap it up here on the.
They know your name now.
They do.
Yep, they know my name.
It's Reece 51. That's exactly who it is. Here on the Stickers and Scuffs podcast.